We are inside the JMA Wireless Dome in Syracuse for an ACC showdown between the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame and the Orange of Syracuse. And welcome everybody, along with Eric Devendorf. I'm Doug Sherman. Glad you're with us. And as you saw from the two records for these two teams, identical coming in, 8-9 overall, also identical in league play. So what's going to give this afternoon, Eric?
Doug, can Syracuse get any stops defensively? And for Notre Dame, keep riding their play for their two big dogs, Burton and Davis.
Indeed, those two guys are a defensive problem for whoever they match up against.
Markus Burton, he's just dynamic point guard as they come. He's been excellent scoring the ball, putting pressure on the defense, and getting to his spots, making plays for himself and for his teammates. He's a tough shot maker. As far as Tae Davis goes, he might be the most improved player in the ACC. He is a walking mismatch, posting up smaller guards and taking those bigger guys off the dribble. He has been relentless at getting to the rim.
Meanwhile, for Syracuse, Chris Bell will once again come off the bench. He's been more effective the last 4 games that way.
One thing's for certain, Syracuse needs Chris Bell to play well if they want to start to win basketball games. He needs to be able to start off on a good foot, and then that seems to give him more consistent energy throughout the game.
The Fighting Irish in their road blue with the gold lettering, and the orange in their home whites. Tae Davis jumping center against Keba Jai, and it's the Fighting Irish with it first. And one of their captains, Matt Alacco, the Princeton grad transfer, had the ball first. Here is Tae Davis. We saw the highlights he can put up. He has really been a physical force, one of the most improved players in the ACC this year.
Doug, that's a matchup we want to look at early on. Davis versus Davis. I think obviously Notre Dame has the advantage, just the way Tae Davis has been playing, putting the ball on the floor, getting to the rim.
J.J. Starling again starting at the point for the Orange. And then the freshman Elijah Moore stays in the starting lineup. How does Syracuse get him back to the form they saw in the Tennessee game and earlier in the year?
I think offensively, Syracuse, they were out of sync versus Louisville to start the game. They have to get some ball movement. They have to get some clean looks and opportunities. And it's funny how it works. When the shots go in early on, it seems like the energy starts to pick up on both ends of the floor. Syracuse just has to get that ball movement going early on. And
as expected, right off the start, Burton and Davis impose their will. Quick 4-0 start for Notre Dame.
Doug, I think it's key for Syracuse to attack Tae Davis on the defensive side of the ball as well. They want to keep him engaged defensively, hopefully tire him out for the other end.
Shot clock down to 2. Taylor puts it up, beat the buzzer, but it's an air ball. So a shot clock violation.
And these are shots that they do not want to be starting out with right now. We talked about having ball movement, but that's a shot that obviously Coach Red is not happy with, and rightfully so.
Adrian Red Autry, in his second year as head coach at his alma mater, now 52 years old. Got to look out for Braden Shrewsbury as well. He feels comfortable shooting the basketball anywhere, and especially in this building.
He has been the orange killer, and you see the trail that JJ had on Shrewsbury. You can't be late on Shrewsbury. He's going to knock it down with or with the guy in his face. Great start for Notre Dame.
Last year here in the Dome, Shrewsbury scored 18 points all in the second half, and then in the matchup back in December, he was excellent again shooting against this Syracuse defense.
See, Notre Dame went to a little zone on that last defensive possession, mixing it up early on.
And defensively, Syracuse kind of gives Braden Shrewsbury the same kind of respect they gave to Rain Smith at Louisville. You've got to stay with him at all times.
He's averaging 3.3 makes in ACC play, which is second in the ACC, and definitely you want to give him that same type of attention, same type of shooter.
Taylor misses from the corner. Long rebound tracked down by Braden Shrewsbury, the 6'4" sophomore from Granger, Indiana. The son of the head coach, Markus Shrewsbury. Keba Jai gives it back to Burton, fakes the pass, calls his own number. He is potent, averaging 19 per game. That would be 4th in the ACC if he had enough games in the Dome this afternoon.
Burton doing what he does, getting to his spot, putting pressure on the defense, knocking down tough shots. And Davis, he has been relentless at attacking the basketball, or excuse me, attacking the rim. And then Shrewsbury coming off that handoff, knocking it down. One of the best shooters in the ACC.
Last time they played out in South Bend back in early December, Coach Shrewsbury's team picked up a big win, and they were without both Markus Burton and their excellent freshman Sir Muhammad, who was also back. J.J. Starling with the basketball. He also missed that game for Syracuse. So both sides said, you know, watching that tape from that game, and it was so long ago, really is not as relevant as you might think. Starling around and out. Got a foul on the rebound. That goes against Syracuse. And there's the affable second-year head coach at Notre Dame, former player at Division III Hanover College in Indiana. And with a long NBA pedigree, spent 6 years with the Boston Celtics before taking the head coaching job 4 years ago at Penn State. Had a couple of good years there, and now has tried to translate that to Notre Dame. Matt Alacco with the pull-up. Now 4 different Irish in the scoring column.
Doug, we talked about Burton, we talked about Davis, we talked about Shrewsbury, but how about Matt Alacco, a guy who's shooting 46% from the three-point line, but more than capable, as you can see on the last possession, of getting into that mid-range area and knocking it down.
And he is the vocal leader of this Notre Dame team. Goes by the nickname Mush, which his dad gave him when he was a kid, as in mush mouth.
Yeah.
And his coach at Princeton, Mitch Henderson, actually wanted him to talk more. Mike Shrewsbury asking him this morning, do you want Mush to talk more? He's like, nah, I'm good. But he loves having that type of leadership on this team.
Yeah, just the communication from a guy who comes from a high-quality program in Princeton, and you see right there Davis knocking down the three. Finally, Syracuse gets on the scoreboard, but Syracuse just needs to calm down, move the ball, get some body movement, get some cuts to the basket, and hopefully open up some opportunities where they can get some cleaner looks.
And with that made bucket, as Jai has his 3 rim out, the orange crowd sits down, and Syracuse tries to build on that. By the way, Jair Davis is now 3 for his last 4 the last couple of games on 3-point shots. Alacco left alone finds Jai, and he's fouled by Eddie Lampkin. And that'll take us to break. But an 11-0 burst to start. And we welcome those of you who have been watching the end of the game with Virginia Tech. We are here in Syracuse, New York, along with Eric Devendorf. I'm Doug Sherman. Notre Dame scored the first 11 points of the ball game. Syracuse got a 3 to get on the board, but the Fighting Irish have dominated the first almost 5 minutes on both ends of the floor.
Well, the difference right now between Notre Dame and Syracuse is Notre Dame, they're being aggressive, they're attacking the basket, and they're taking what's given to them. Syracuse on the other end offensively, they're forcing shots, they're settling for shots, and they're shooting tough shots. They're totally opposites, Notre Dame and Syracuse right now.
All 5 Notre Dame players have scored in the first 5 minutes of the game. Davis has the 3-point shot for Syracuse. And again, the shot clock a factor. Davis on Davis. Jair with the turnaround over Tae, a little strong. Burton pulls down the rebound. And the 2024 ACC Freshman of the Year goes to work against J.J. Starling.
I mean, just look how quick he is with the basketball. There's an in and out behind the back. He just needs a little angle to be able to get to a spot, and then once he gets to a spot, I mean, he's one of the best in the ACC, if not the country. We're finishing off 2 feet in that lane.
Well, in this building a year ago, he had 28 points in a loss. 20 of those 28 came in the second half when the Fighting Irish nearly came back from more than 20 down to beat the Orange. Starling gets it back. Now returns it to Lampkin. Wide open for the wing 3 is Chris Bell.
It's a great sign for Syracuse right there. Chris Bell hits his first shot. It's a great look by Eddie Lampkin. Great patience, faking to the corner, then seeing the open Bell on the wing, knocking it down.
He is now 10 for his last 18 on 3 since being moved from a starting role, which he had had for 2.5 years, to coming off the bench. Burton had a crease, missed the pull-up. Keba Jai pulls the rebound back and then turns it over. Orange down by 8 with the basketball.
Doug, that's another thing Syracuse needs. They need to try to create turnovers instead of coming back here on the offensive end, trying to score every time in the half court. They need to find opportunities to get out and get easy buckets in transition.
Foul given before the shot after Markus Burton left his defender in the dust. Well, turning over the opposition has not been a strength at all for Syracuse this year.
You see right here, Burton, I mean, he has one of the most craftiest handles in the country. Just gets to wherever he wants to on the floor, drawing fouls and creating opportunities for himself and his teammates.
And so Matt Alako, the grad transfer from Princeton, will inbound along the baseline to Burton, out to Keba Jai. We get our first look at number 1, Julian Roper II. Key piece from Micah Shrewsbury's club. Tae Davis draws the contact. He goes down, no call. Play continues. Kyle Cuff Jr. with the basketball. The Kansas transfer into the game for the Orange.
And Doug, just talking, going back to Roper, he was a key guy in Notre Dame's win against Boston College, coming in the second half, really just changing and shifting the momentum off his energy and his effort.
Well, he had, in 18 minutes off the bench, Eric, in that game, he was a plus 26, and he only had 2 points, but 2 assists, 7 rebounds, and great defense.
And he really has a lesser of a role this year, but he's really bought into his role and what Coach Shrewsbury wants him to do. Come in, bring effort, bring energy, and really be the best defensive player on the floor.
And you like the fact that he's Detroit tough.
He's Detroit tough. Those Midwest guys are just something different.
Tough shot by Burton. Here comes Syracuse. Starling with it. Cuff leaves it for Starling.
I don't know if he meant to pass that or if it went off a foot or what.
Yeah, that's why I said leaves it. I didn't want to say passed. I wasn't sure either. Burton for 3. This is a very good shooting team at 40% from beyond the arc in ACC play, number 1 in the conference.
Doug, I think Markus Burton really excels at getting by guys and creating opportunities, but when he's hitting that 3-point shot, you got to watch out, because what are you going to do to be able to stop him?
And you know, his size, I think, scared a few recruiters off. He was the Mr. Basketball his senior year in the state of Indiana. He committed early to Mike Bray. He said, when I got that scholarship offer, it was a dream come true. And when there was a coaching change, it was real easy, apparently, for Coach Shrewsbury and his staff to get the recommitment, and man, they are glad they did.
How awesome is it to be able to really be playing in your backyard with all your family watching you and supporting you? And we talked about being the freshman of the year last year. He's one of the most dynamic point guards in the country.
Peter Majstorovic with his first 2 points off the Syracuse bench. Alako for 3. 23-8 Notre Dame.
Doug, no disrespect to my guy Pistol Pete, but if he's guarding Matt Alako, it's going to be a long night, and you see Alako taking advantage of it right there, knocking down a 3-point shot.
And we've got to let people know, if they're not sure who Pistol Pete is, that is Pete Majstorovic. And again, Burton able to do what he wants anywhere on the floor, and that draws yet another timeout. Notre Dame.
Doug, I think we're going to be saying Markus Burton a lot this afternoon. 6 for 9, 14 points in the first 9 minutes of this game. I mean, he's just controlling the game, getting anywhere he gets to on the floor and just making tough shots. Right now, his confidence is at another level for Notre Dame.
They list him at 6 feet 190, probably not that tall. Off to a flying start. He and his teammates 4 of 5 shooting the 3 ball.
Well, the walk said it all after that last basket, just walking back to the Notre Dame bench. I mean, he is feeling good today, and you obviously can see why.
Jaquan Carlos has come off the Syracuse bench. He's being defended by Roper. Starling over the top for 3.
Syracuse needs more of that. J.J. Starling asking for the basketball and being aggressive, whether it's a one dribble move into your pull-up or just getting all the way to the basket. Make or miss, J.J. Starling has to be aggressive.
Nikita Konstantinovsky into the game for Notre Dame. Big number 25. Got an offensive foul against the Irish. Called against Braden Shrewsbury.
Doug, we were talking to Coach Shrewsbury at this morning's shoot-around. He said his Notre Dame teammates like to call him Tricky Nicky.
Well, he is from Kyiv, Ukraine. He is one of 3 triplets. He's got a brother who actually is serving in the military for Ukraine in the war against Russia right now. And you know that part of the world from your professional playing days.
I do. I spent 8 months over there in Dnipro-Zhizhinsk. I tell you what, it was a heck of an experience. Eastern Europe is it's different from Syracuse, New York. I tell you that. But one thing that is similar is it is gray like it is here in Syracuse right now. So that's one similarity it has.
There's number 25. Last year played at Monmouth for Rice King, averaged 9 points, 8 rebounds a game. 4th in the CAA in rebounding, and so he's another one of these guys able to build his game and transfer up and use his final year of eligibility at Notre Dame.
Well, Coach Shrewsbury just talked about Nikita playing his role, being around the rim, being physical, being a presence at the basket, and just playing your role, buying into what the coaches want you to do. It just makes the team so much easier to coach when guys are buying in to what the coaches want them to do.
Chris Bell has left the game after picking up his second foul. Burton showing the whole bag here today.
I tell you what, I don't know if Syracuse is going to learn it today or they're going to learn it next weekend, but Markus Burton can score off the pick and roll. You're going to have to step up and meet him a little bit earlier. How many times has he gotten to that spot and just hit that little floater already in this game?
Taylor to Carlos, and he buries the three. 6-foot senior from Brooklyn again coming off the bench. Bullet pass. Shrewsbury couldn't handle it from Muhammad, but we've got a foul on the pass. That goes against Carlos. Coming up next, our basketball tripleheader is capped off with Cal squaring off against NC State in Raleigh. A couple of teams kind of in similar position to both of these teams. It's hard to imagine in the middle of January, but we're already thinking about in the new ACC with the expansion, only 15 of the 18 teams will qualify to go to Charlotte for the tournament. You certainly don't want to be one of those 3 teams on the outside looking in.
And these 2 teams, and it's, you know, they're fighting to play out of that bottom 3 or not be in that bottom 3 to be able to play and participate in the ACC tournament. And I think Notre Dame, their record doesn't show what type of team they really are. They're better than their record shows. Obviously, they missed Markus Burton for a good amount of games, but having him back on the floor, as you can see today, it just makes everybody else's job a little bit easier. Notre Dame is a much, much better team with him playing.
Yeah, this Notre Dame team had 86% of its scoring from a year ago come back, led by that man, Markus Burton, who's already almost got his season average of 19 per game, and we still got 8.5 minutes to play in the first. Bad pass by Storovich, stolen by Julian Roper.
And Doug, I think defensively Notre Dame's gotten better. They're a little bit more active. They're a disciplined group defensively, but activity has gotten much more. And then you see Burton, he's just continuing to dominate Syracuse, getting to wherever he wants to get, knocking down the mid-range jumper.
So in the last 2 halves in this building, and again there are 8 minutes left in this half, he has scored 40 points.
Well, I guess he's telling us that he likes to come to the Dome and play a little bit of ball.
Taylor, strong drive, fouled by Roper, and he will be at the free throw line when we come back. But Markus,
his confidence is sky high. Let me get to my spot and just knock it down. I'm a Michigan man, so if I picked Ohio State, I'd...
The 8 seed, the Buckeyes are the favorite. And our producer, Kristen Hennessy, is from the Buckeye State. She is dismayed that both of us picked against her school.
Kristen, I forgive you.
Three-point play completed by Lucas Taylor. First 3 points for the senior from Raleigh, North Carolina. Meanwhile, what are the Orange going to do defensively? The Irish, led by Burton, have made their last 7 shot attempts.
Well, every single time Burton comes off the pick and roll, they're just lagging back in that paint, and he has a wide open jump shot or he has an easy floater at the rim. They have to be able to adjust, make him make a play, get the ball out of his hands, make somebody else do something.
And that's a part of Braden Shrewsbury's game that is better from a year ago. He is still a lethal 3-point shooter, but better able to go into the paint. He's averaging 15 per game. Starling misses, and the rebound pulled down by Burton. So you've got Burton, who averages 19 a game, Shrewsbury 15 a game. Tae Davis has his average up to about 17 per game. And oh, by the way, Madalako, another double-figure score. A lot of weapons for Notre Dame. Starling is fouled. And it's kind of hard to figure out how Notre Dame had lost 4 consecutive games until beating Boston College on Monday.
This is what Syracuse needs to be able to stay connected, use that athleticism and length to make it tough for Burton at the rim. Great job by Taylor getting the block shot. But on this side of the ball, offensively, they have to get some movement. They've been out of sync since Louisville. They have to be able to get some open opportunities to get confidence on this side of the ball.
Carlos on the pull-up. 5 points off the bench for the senior out of Thomas Jefferson High School in New York City.
And for Carlos, just be aggressive, right? You're not the biggest guy on the court. You're not the most athletic guy. But be aggressive and be a threat on the floor. Don't just be out on the floor. Be a threat.
Off the Tae Davis miss. Starling drops it off. Jair Davis has it knocked away. And it'll be Syracuse basketball underneath with 21 seconds on the shot clock.
I like these last 2 possessions by Syracuse. JJ just being aggressive to the rim, and Notre Dame may have got away with a foul, but nonetheless, being aggressive, creating opportunities at the basket.
Starling gets it back. Misses off the curl.
Now, Doug, the next step is to make it.
J.R. Knesny, another one of the local recruits for Notre Dame, into the game. Braden Shrewsbury starting to heat up. He's got 8 points.
Doug, here's my thing for Syracuse. How can you continue to be late on the best shooter on the floor? He just made one on the trail. You're locking on his hip, and you're not letting him get any open space.
Yeah, Coach Shrewsbury really has a good foundation to build around as Starling hits the pull-up. Markus Burton and Braden Shrewsbury were both on the all-rookie team in the ACC last year, and they became the 9th pair in conference history to lead their respective team in scoring for the season. By the way, we have a 10th duo who will do the same thing this year at Duke. But Notre Dame has a good young team to build around for Coach Shrewsbury. Carlos back to Starling, thought about it, now puts it on the deck. Back to Carlos for 3.
That's a shot J.J. Starling has to shoot. Being hesitant is not going to do it. Shoot the ball if you're open.
Here's Shrewsbury. Burton tries to dump it off, and he's fouled by Carlos. Here's tomorrow's ACC Network women's basketball quadruple header. BC will host Syracuse and Chestnut Hill at noon Eastern. Then 19th ranked North Carolina takes on Pitt, followed by Louisville, Virginia Tech, and Blacksburg. And we cap the day with Hannah Hidalgo and 3rd ranked Notre Dame hosting SMU. And it sounds like Hidalgo's ankle is feeling better, and she will indeed play in that game. Taylor does a good job to stay with Markus Burton, and yet he still is able to score.
He did a good job staying, but he's getting into that ACC, into that orange area every single time, and he's a tough shot maker. If he's able to get into that area, chances are he's going to make a bucket or make a play for somebody else.
22 points for Burton. By the way, his career high is 31. Well on his way this afternoon. Lampkin will shoot a pair. First time we've called big number 44 today, who's been on quite a roll lately. Been a very effective rebounder. Up to over 8 rebounds per game. 6th best in the ACC.
Look, I think Eddie's a guy who just has to be able to assert himself, being aggressive on the offensive side of the ball. Notre Dame is going to try to expose him in the pick and roll. You see he's lagging behind. He's waiting for Markus to make a decision, and that's been hurting Syracuse. But offensively, you have to be able to be effective on this side. Get the ball, use your big body, try to be aggressive at the rim. If you don't finish, try to get opportunities like you have right now, knocking down 2 free throws.
Kyle Cuff back into the game for Syracuse. Matalako out there, along with Burton in the backcourt and Shrewsbury for Notre Dame. Konstantinovsky inside with Tae Davis. Lampkin doesn't get the roll. 1 out of 2 from the line. It's a 16-point Irish lead.
Doug, another thing that Syracuse is really missing is just communication on the floor, right? When things aren't going well, when you have a turnover, you have a mistake, get your guys together and regroup. You know, communication is key, not from the coaches, but from your guys on the floor.
Konstantinovsky with the offensive rebound. Back out to Burton. A rare miss for number 3 in blue. Majstorovic and Moore back out there for the orange. Good ball movement to find Lampkin inside. Burton on the reach-in foul will send number 4.
He's getting everywhere he wants to on the floor, and Syracuse needs to figure out how to get the ball out of his hands or just make it a little bit harder. You're doubling him off that pick and roll, making him get rid of the ball, and when he does get by, he has to see bodies. He can't get that deep because even if he doesn't have an opportunity to get a shot, somebody else is because the defense has collapsed.
Eddie Lampkin back at the free throw line. He is 2 for 3 here in the first half. The grad transfer who spent last year in Boulder, Colorado, he is replaced now by Jair Davis, grad transfer from Delaware.
Doug, we were talking about it off air. Eddie Lampkin has not had a shot attempt, and it's 3:45 to go in the first half. That can't happen for Syracuse.
Now for a big guy, Shrewsbury no. Majstorovic, good box out, grabs the rebound. For a big guy, how much of that is on his teammates not getting in the basketball?
Well, he has to communicate to his teammates, and some is on his teammates for sure, but he has to just be a threat and be aggressive. If he doesn't have an opportunity, he's going to open up an opportunity for somebody else just by being aggressive trying to get to the rim.
Elijah Moore now scoreless over the last 7 games. Just needs one of those threes to go down. Back out front, Tae Davis. And a rebounding foul. Did they get Majstorovic? Indeed they did. First foul on the freshman from Serbia, Eric.
Hey, Doug, I was just going to say, once Tae Davis gets a consistent jump shot, you better watch out. He's an NBA prospect once he starts to knock that jump shot down consistently because 6'9", 215, he plays with contact, he's able to get to the rim. Once he can bring defenders out there and really be a threat on the perimeter, it changes his whole game, puts it to a whole nother level.
Well, for me, along with Andrei Stojakovic at Cal, Jalen Blake's at Stanford, Donald Hand at Boston College, and then Tae Davis, those are the 4, for me, most improved players in the ACC this year.
I agree. I'm on board with you. I think Tae Davis is up there as one of the most improved players in the ACC, and he has been playing at a high level.
Kevin Jai, the Penn State transfer who followed Micah Shrewsbury from State College to South Bend, makes the score 40-24. Daquan Carlos playing with 2 fouls off the bench at the point. With J.J. Starling on the bench. To Moore, he'll try again from the corner. Cuff got a piece of it. Syracuse retains possession.
See Notre Dame going to a little zone action again, and those are the opportunities you're going to get. You see Chopper Moore had a great look in the corner. And another thing out of the zone, it's tough to rebound out of the zone. There's going to be offensive opportunity, rebounding opportunities for Syracuse, as you've seen there. Kyle Cuff knocking it down.
Davis. Majstorovic did enough walling up, and here comes Syracuse. Carlos to the corner. Moore around to Laco, back out front to Carlos. And back to Moore for 3. Count it! He'll have a chance for 4.
Well, Doug, really, I thought he should have took the first opportunity, but he's lucky that it came back to him. Great job penetrating, Carlos being patient, and Shrewsbury just late.
All Notre Dame for the most part here in the first half. As Elijah Moore finally got to see the ball go in the net, and a 4-point play for the freshman out of the Bronx.
Doug, one thing about the game of basketball, it's a game of runs, especially when you have shooters on the floor. You're always able to get back into the game.
2 point-blank shots missed by Notre Dame. Under 2 minutes to go in the half. Carlos to the corner. Moore around to Laco. Jair Davis, the extra pass finds Cuff.
Despite the miss, it was great ball movement, and I really like what Carlos has brought into this Syracuse offense, and defensively he has been active, and we talked about being a threat, making an impact when you're out on the floor. He's been doing that.
Shrewsbury draws the foul on Cuff. And so the sophomore out of State College Area High School in Pennsylvania will shoot 2. I found it interesting in talking to Braden and his father Micah. As the family followed Micah through his coaching career, he had a lot of stops along the way. And I would have thought that might have been a negative, but they actually both thought it was a positive. From West Lafayette, Indiana to Boston when his dad was with the Celtics, back to West Lafayette when he had a second stint as an assistant coach at Purdue, to State College for a couple of years. There's father and son. He said actually having to become more adaptable and play with different groups of players in each location has actually made him better.
Especially now with the landscape of college basketball. The turnover of teams every single year, it seems like you're getting new guys. And I think Notre Dame is one of the more luckier teams, bringing back 85% of their scoring. But just being able to have that experience, going through those different levels, it helps you for where you're at now. And you know, he's done a great job putting this team together, and he's done a great job of letting guys know what their roles are and what he wants them to do.
Moore on the pull-up. They need offense from number 8.
They need Chopper Moore early in the season, especially against Tennessee. You see what he's capable of doing, scoring 24 points against one of the best defensive teams in the country. And not much of that as of late, but Chopper Moore is a guy who could get going.
He had a big game against Cornell as well. Starling back into the game with the steal for Syracuse. Moore calling for the ball, and he puts up an air ball. Is it easy enough just to chalk up Chopper Moore's season so far as, well, he's a freshman?
He is a freshman, and he's going to have those learning curves. He's going to have moments where you're scratching your head wondering, but just like that right there, you shoot the first shot that's given to you. I mean, and he's known as a shooter coming in here. When you have an opportunity, even if it's a little bit of space, you shoot the basketball. You can't second guess yourself as a basketball player. You got to take what the defense gives you.
Final 13 seconds of the half. Burton on the turnaround, no. Ball batted around, and that'll do it for the first half. Well, the Fighting Irish came out and scored the game.
Obviously, he's not an offensive threat, but on the defensive side of the ball, he has to be more of a presence at the rim and just being a protector.
Starling, Taylor, Jair Davis, Moore, and Lampkin starting the second half for Syracuse. Kebajai trying to keep Lampkin out of the paint. Ball comes loose to the corner, tracked down by Matalako. Starts alongside a man of the hour so far, Markus Burton, with his 22 points. Last year's ACC Rookie of the Year. Tae Davis, Braden Shrewsbury, also starting for Notre Dame as they did in the first half.
And Doug, right away you see the adjustment on the pick and roll with Eddie Lampkin coming up higher, stopping Burton earlier, not letting him get into that ACC area.
Alako beats the buzzer but missed it. Into the corner, Moore for 3. Jair Davis got a piece of it, and it's Syracuse basketball. Last to touch was Tae Davis.
There's a great look right there by Chopper Moore. Every opportunity, every look that you get, shoot the ball. That's what you are. You're a shooter. You can knock it down. I don't care if you miss 5 in a row. You have to continue to shoot the basketball.
Starling had a quiet first half, only 5 points. He talked after the loss to Louisville on Tuesday about having been punked. Like he took it personally, didn't want for that to happen again. How did you interpret the way he reacted to that loss to the Cards?
Well, a big thing that I saw in the game versus Louisville for JJ was he ended up 1 for 7. You want to continue to be aggressive regardless if you're making or missing. You have to continue to put pressure on the defense, and I thought later in that second half, or early in the second half, excuse me, he stopped being aggressive, and that favored Louisville.
Jair Davis turned down the mid-range jump shot for the jump hook. It's a 7-point ball game.
It's a good job by Davis eating up that space that Jai let him have, but he's a guy that's capable to knock down that 15-foot jump shot. If Jai's going to give him that shot, I'm shooting it every single time.
Good recovery by Moore on that backdoor pass to knock it out of bounds. The Irish will keep underneath with 14 seconds to shoot.
And Doug, one thing that I know Coach Red wanted to see from Chopper Moore was just a little bit more effort and energy on the defensive side of the ball. You're really seeing that from him late in this first half, going into this early part of the second half. Great defense right there by Chopper Moore.
Tae Davis had a quiet first half, made only one bucket. He continues to struggle, then commits the foul. And he has been so good in recent weeks, has the scoring average up to nearly 17 per game. 9th best in the ACC, but he's stuck on 2 here today.
He's just a guy that's relentless at getting to the rim. Almost 109 free throw attempts. That shows you how he's attacking the rim.
Yeah, he and Burton both put so much pressure on opposing defenses. That's Tae Davis fouling Jair Davis, who will go to the line.
And that's where really Jair Davis can be effective. Just using your strong body, attacking Davis. We said it early in the first half, he has to make Davis play defense. It's going to make it harder for Davis on the offensive side of the ball, but great job just attacking his chest and trying to get to the rim.
Tonight at 8 Eastern, after our men's basketball triple header, the Nothing But Net crew will break down the day and night in the ACC with highlights and analysis of every game and look ahead at the best matchups on the schedule for next week. We've got you covered all season right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Tae Davis into the lane, kick it out Burton. 5 to shoot. Malacco gives it back to the sophomore point guard who goes to work around Taylor to the bucket. Blocked by Lampkin. Pass up ahead to Moore, who lays it in. It's a 5-point game.
Doug, if Syracuse can get more of those easy opportunities, those transition buckets, great activity on the defensive side of the ball, ending in a Lampkin block, and great outlet pass to Moore for the finish.
Here come the Orange again. Lampkin again to Moore. But Malacco took it away. Braden Shrewsbury, bad pass, knocked away by Lampkin, who continues to be active inside here in the second half.
I'll tell you what, the last 8 minutes of this game, 4 minutes last in the first half, excuse me, and then this first 4 minutes in the second half, the activity on the defensive side of the ball for Syracuse has been really great. It's been leading to shots like this. When your energy is like that on defense, usually it helps you on the offensive side of the ball.
Tae Davis, tough shot off the window for 2.
Doug, if you're Syracuse, you're playing in the half-court set. You just want to get some ball movement. You want to get some cuts. Right now, you got to have some movement off the ball. You see they're overhelping.
Nifty pass off the bounce from Davis to Lampkin. 44-42.
It's a great big-to-big passing right there by Jair Davis, finishing Eddie Lampkin at the rim.
Tae Davis is bumped and fouled by Lampkin. Nothing in the blink of an eye, down by as many as 17, and now trailing by just 2. Tae Davis. Seems like Coach Shrewsbury really wants to establish number 7. He attacks the rim again and is fouled by Jair Davis.
Tae Davis talked about him being just relentless attacking the rim. There's another example of it right there, getting an opportunity for 2 free throws. But you love the defense that Jair Davis is playing on Tae Davis, just continuing to be there, making it tough for him at the rim, and you just need to continue that throughout the second half.
There's his mom, Carlonda, his dad, DeAndre Sr. Love the shirts that they're wearing in support of their younger son. Takeover, TAE. And their son with a couple of free throws to make it 46-42, Notre Dame. Davis on Davis. Jair over Tae, no. Ripped away by Braden Shrewsbury. Quickly up ahead to Burton. Starling takes it away, but is called for the foul.
See Markus Burton right here, a blur into the rim, but I thought it was a good defensive possession right there by Starling. And I don't know, Doug.
Looked like he just said, give me that.
I agree, he did say give me that, but nonetheless, opportunity for Notre Dame at the line.
And so Burton does the job. His first points of the second half. Leads all scorers, and the lead is back to 6. Lampkin calling for the ball. Good job by Kabajai to force him out from around the post. The behind the back pass leads to an and one for Jair Davis.
Well, how about that pass right there by Eddie Lampkin? Great job being patient. Eyes in the back of his head. Jair Davis, right spot, right time, finishing at the rim. Opportunity for the and one. And Doug, you just love to see the energy back in the dome, right? It's something that really has been missing throughout this year, but Eddie Lampkin bringing a bit of energy into the dome.
And he is the energy guy for Syracuse. His teammates feed off of it. It is infectious, and he's always hunting for the pretty pass like we just saw.
He loves the goggles.
Again, Tae Davis on the attack. And the foul comes against Syracuse, and it's against Jair Davis.
Well, Doug, what I really love about Tae Davis is he's not worried if he turns the ball over or if he misses 4 or 5 shots in a row. He gets that ball, and one thing is on his mind. Attack, attack, attack. You just love to see a guy who's not affected by makes or miss and just continues to be aggressive.
Well, he has known his head coach, Markus Shrewsbury, for 5 years, since Micah tried unsuccessfully to recruit Tae to Purdue. Tae originally committed to Louisville to play with his big brother Dre, but both flipped to Seton Hall after the hiring of Kenny Payne. But after a year at Seton Hall, the younger Davis brother transferred to Notre Dame, and they are glad to have one of the most improved players in the ACC. And something else he does, Eric, is force his opponents to commit fouls. That's the third on Jair Davis. The way he attacks the basket. Starling attacks off the spin. Alaco rips the rebound away for Notre Dame.
Got away with a little shuffle right there.
Jair Davis wins that matchup with Tae Davis. Starling feeds Lampkin, who faces up. The big man into the lane. Left it short on the rim.
It's like 2 linemen just crashing into each other right there, Doug.
Glad to be sitting over here.
Yeah.
Alaco from the foul line. Under control for 2.
I'm really impressed with Alaco. You come in, you see he's shooting 46% from the 3-point line, but he's a tough player, and he seems to be able to get to his spots in that mid-range, and when he's able to do it, he's able to rise up, and he really has a pretty jump shot.
He's using that extra year that was lost because the Ivy League didn't play during the pandemic. So he transferred to Notre Dame as a graduate from Princeton. Moore with an air ball on the closeout by Shrewsbury. The blow by and the reverse, no. More the rebound. Syracuse back the other way. Starling, Lampkin, count the basket.
The field goal for Eddie Lampkin. Substitution to the game, Jake Carlos, number 5.
Great job by Syracuse, not waiting on Markus Burton, but getting ahead of the defense. Eddie Lampkin finishing with the goaltend on Tae Davis. Great job by Syracuse.
Now
Taylor and Jair Davis take a seat. Kyle Cuff and Peter Majstorovic back in for Syracuse. Nikita Konstantinovsky has come in for the first time here in the second half for Notre Dame. Also got Julian Roper in. And now Starling will take a seat for the Orange. And Chris Bell has come back on the floor. So is Jaquan Carlos. So almost a full hockey line change for the Orange. 4 new players out there.
Doug, we both watched Syracuse quite a few times this season. And really this is the first time we've seen them create turnovers and then get out in transition consistently. They're doing a great job this half, just creating turnovers and then getting out in transition and getting easier looks than playing in the half court.
Tae Davis lost it on the way out. Cuff, he's always in attack mode. And the whistle comes, which will take us to break. And when we come back on this Martin Luther King holiday, those 2 visits to Syracuse, he also made a trip to South Bend. Dr. King made a stop at Notre Dame in October of '63 when he addressed more than 3,000 people inside the Stepin Center. And we have come a long ways since those days as Kyle Cuff makes a couple of free throws. Syracuse has never led. Notre Dame is led by as many as 17. Shrewsbury off the window for 2.
Doug, with Burton out the game, with Davis out the game, you would think they're going to Shrewsbury and Alaco for more offense. Sir Muhammad is more than capable of scoring the basketball as well.
Jaquan Carlos inside to Lampkin. And before the shot attempt, we've got a foul. Sir Muhammad called for the personal. Markus Burton, the man of the hour so far, back into the game with 24 points.
Syracuse has done a really good job on him in the second half. The first 9 minutes, he had 16 points. This first 9 minutes in the second half, 2 points coming off free throws.
Lampkin took it back after the poor pass from Carlos, gave it to Notre Dame. Chris Bell is on the floor for Syracuse. He made a 3 early, then picked up a couple of fouls. We haven't seen him since. Here is Bell off the shot fake for 3. Way off the mark. Long rebound tracked down by Carlos. 5 to shoot. Looking to go one-on-one with Alaco. The ball is up and no good.
Right now, sorry Doug, right now if I'm Syracuse, I'm looking at Eddie Lampkin. You got Nikita guarding him. I'm going back to Eddie Lampkin on that next offensive possession.
What has Syracuse been doing defensively better against Burton here in the second half?
They're just showing bodies. You know, they're not letting them get into that ACC area as much, and when they do, they're crowding them. They're making it tough for them. And when you got guys there, 2, 3, rather than just 1, it's going to be harder to score the basketball. Syracuse is doing a good job of just putting bodies in front of them and crowding them.
The foul against Majstorovic. Cuff draws the assignment. Burton dribbled it out of bounds. Carlos, Cuff, and Bell around the perimeter. Lampkin inside. And Majstorovic playing the 4. Alaco steps out to defend Carlos.
See Syracuse right now trying to get Bell an opportunity, but
off the fade screen, though, they get a halfway decent look. The foul, and so Bell will go to the line for 2.
So you don't want to force it. If it's not there, you want to get somebody else to look. But Bell doing a good job of just getting his body into Roper and drawing the foul.
75% on the year for the junior from Concord, California. 3rd foul on Julian Roper, the 2nd. And so now Konechny will come back in, replacing Roper. Lampkin takes a seat for Syracuse. Jair Davis back in.
Doug, for Syracuse, Chris Bell, we talked about it early on in the pregame. He's just a guy that Syracuse really needs to play well. for them to try to win basketball games. I mean, he's one of the best shooters in the ACC. He missed both free throws right there, but when he's locked in on both ends of the floor, it makes such a difference for the Syracuse basketball team.
And the mental side of the game is something Red Autry and his staff have continually worked on. Chris Bell, part of the equation for having him come off the bench now. Foul on the drive and dish as Burton got into the paint. Jair Davis picks up another. That is his fourth. And it looks like that'll bring Lampkin back up off the bench after a quick break.
Doug, back to your point about just the mental part of the game. Basketball is an emotional game, right? Tempers are going to flare. You're going to get fouled hard. You're going to miss shots, but you have to be able to play through the adversity, the missed shots. That's what great players do. They're able to play through those things.
Cuff takes it away. Had Bell out in front, but he was fouled in the front court by Alako. Coming up next, our basketball triple header is capped off with Cal squaring off against North Carolina State in Raleigh. Debbie Antonelli, the North Carolina State alumna, will be on the call along with Jay Alter on another marvelous afternoon of basketball here on the ACC network and into the evening. So Alako goes out as Cuff goes to the free throw line. Tae Davis has come back in. And that being the 7th foul on Notre Dame. This is a 1-and-1 for the former Kansas Jayhawk. His career in Lawrence never really got off the ground. Suffered a leg injury, had to have a medical red shirt, and then transferred closer to home. New York native coming back here to Syracuse.
When we talk about adversity, Kyle Cuff Jr. knows a lot about adversity, but he continues to play through it. Every time I see him, he has a positive attitude. He gives energy and effort. And he's a big reason why Syracuse is back in this ballgame.
It's no coincidence when he comes into the game, his energy changes things for Syracuse. We saw it late in the first half again here today. Shrewsbury juggled the ball. Brian O'Connell, the official right there, said he bobbled it, no double dribble. 11 minutes into the second half, Burton off a good closeout by Cuff. It's an air ball. Starling. Majstorovic, and he couldn't haul it in.
To see the difference in the second half on how Syracuse is playing the pick and roll with Burton. They're hedging out high. They're not letting him turn the corner. Once he's able to turn that corner and get to the paint, that's when you're in trouble. When you can force him to play side to side, you're going to give yourself a much better chance.
Tae Davis goes against two defenders, missed the shot. Jai kept it alive. Davis again with it. And brings it out to Burton. Knesny, great shot fake. Dump it off. 4-2. Keba Jai makes it once again a 6-point game. Majstorovic went down. So the officials, you see Lee Cassell along with Brian O'Connell and Isaac Barnett have called a flagrant 1. After the basket, as you take another look, Keba Jai catches Majstorovic on the chin with the right elbow.
Yeah, you see him. He's going up aggressive, and Jai just raised that elbow a little bit too high.
And so there was excessive contact to the chin. And it's the third personal foul on Jai. And it will
after further
result
review,
2 free throws
we have
for
a flagrant
Syracuse
1
from
foul
Majstorovic.
on blue 14. The ball had yet to release from the net, so the ball was still live. Be 2 shots for white 6 and possession of the ball.
So a break for the Orange, which has struggled the last 4 minutes to score. They've gone nearly 4 minutes since their last field goal. And Majstorovic, who is only 7 of 12 on the year, shooting 2.
Syracuse this season, they've been in some droughts offensively, but I think the difference in the game today is They were able to get some turnovers defensively and then get out in transition and get some easy buckets. It makes it so much easier to get out of those droughts when you're able to get stops defensively and then get easy opportunities on the offensive side of the ball rather than play against a set defense in half court every single time.
Over the last 3 minutes, the Irish, against that better Syracuse defense, has turned it over 4 times, helping keep Syracuse close. Carlos to Cuff. Back to Carlos. Cuff on the pull-up. Knesny grabs it for Notre Dame.
Right now, it's time for J.J. Starling to look to get the ball and be aggressive on the offensive side for Syracuse.
Kebajai hands it off. Bodies tangled on the perimeter, and Cuff is going to be called for the foul.
Despite the foul, I just like Kyle Cuff's energy. I mean, it could have gone either way, Doug, honestly. But you just love Kyle Cuff and his energy that he's bringing to the floor. You need that. And unfortunate for Syracuse sending Notre Dame to the line, but you got to continue to bring that effort and energy, especially on this side of the floor.
Shrewsbury makes the front end of the 1-and-1. He's got 13 points. Notre Dame has gotten all of its scoring from its starters, nothing off the bench, and they have all logged heavy minutes as we head to the later stages of the second half.
A much better job defensively in this half for Syracuse, giving up 16 points so far this half.
Starling can't get the roll. Lampkin keeps it alive. Eddie snaps the slump, the first bucket for the Orange since the 12-11 mark.
And Doug, Lampkin doesn't jump very high, but he's able to use that big wide body to create space, and he's a great rebounder, averaging 10 rebounds over his last 7 games, and there's an example of it right there.
Burton change of pace, finds a little opening, finds a crease in the lane, and quiets the crowd for now. Back to a 7-point Irish lead.
It's so tough at that size, finishing among the trees when you get to the paint, but he's one of the best at the country, getting in there, and then he's just so creative at finishing at the rim.
Lampkin with the slam off the feed from Majstorovic.
Well, Doug, he heard me. He said that he couldn't jump, and now he comes on the other end and gets a dunk. Great finish by Eddie Lampkin.
Burton goes back door, pulls up, around and out. Starling trying to get downhill, able to put it up on the window, and he gets the bucket.
And it was almost like a semi-transition. They did a good job of pushing it up and going into the quick screen. Eddie really not even screening them, just getting in the way, allowing JJ to turn that corner and get an opportunity at the rim, and opportunity for an old-fashioned three-point play.
Now Starling, the second Syracuse player into double figures, averaging 18 per game. Can't complete the three-point play. Tae Davis on the right wing. Uses the ball screen. The pull-up, nothing but net. 8 points for the junior from Indianapolis. Back to a 5-point Irish lead.
Not having his best game, but you've seen him get to that area on the court multiple times. Just hasn't been able to finish, but a tough float right there by Tae Davis.
Carlos, cross-court Starling. Got it!
J.J. Starling is a guy that Syracuse obviously needs on the offensive side of the ball. He's getting to the rim, and you know he's feeling good when he's knocking down that three-point shot.
Tae Davis left his feet and was fouled.
Syracuse foul number 6, Majstorovic, his third personal.
Foul number 3 on Majstorovic.
Great find right there by Burton, and One thing I know about Tae Davis, he is not afraid to give up his body, and that's why he's had over 110 free throws this season for Notre Dame. But Tae Davis, he's just relentless at attacking the rim, and he's not afraid of the contact at all.
Mom and dad hoping their son is okay as he's at the line. He's third in the league in field goal percentage, although he's not had a good night in that regard here at the Dome. 77% from the field, from the foul line. Makes it once again a three-point game.
And he really has a good-looking shot on his free throw. You wonder why he doesn't shoot a higher percentage from the perimeter. He doesn't really shoot a high volume at all. But again, if he's able to extend his game out the perimeter and knock down that shot, it's the next level for Tae Davis.
Carlos waits for the screen. Starling to Lampkin. Give it back to the junior from Baldwinsville. And the local recruit will head to the line, shooting two. Personal against Burton.
Young players, I want you to see this real quick. J.J. Starling gets it into the post, but then moves right away, relocates, and puts Markus Burton in a tough position to have to contest the shot. And great job by J.J. Starling, just moving without the ball, being consistent in his movement.
Second foul on Burton. And so Starling with those 13 points at 70% on the year. What do you see in J.J. Starling's shot right now?
Well, it's not fluid. You want to go through one motion, you know, with your shot, and it's almost a little pause at that top. But you want to try to be able to just go through it in one motion and just hold it right there. It looked much better, but it's not consistent as far as the motion and as far as just being fluid. But he's still able to knock down the shot, and it's, you know, I guess if you're knocking it down, you don't want to mess with it too much. But in the off season, you do want to try to get it to where it's just one motion and it's a fluid motion through it.
And the former Notre Dame player has now tied the game for the first time today. 5 minutes to go. Kyle Cuff is called for the foul.
Syracuse foul, number 0, Kyle Cuff.
Doug, I'm not really sure where the foul was on Kyle Cuff. He just ran into the screen and Alako fell down.
Blindly ran into it, didn't see it coming. Alako, after having drawn the third foul on Cuff, makes the first.
If anything, it would have been a foul on Alako, you would have thought.
Alako goes out. Offensive defensive switch here with Julian Roper back onto the floor out of St. Mary's Prep in Detroit.
See, he goes to guard J.J. Starling right away. Julian Roper is Notre Dame's best defensive player and known to be on the best player of the other team.
Starling, tough shot to tie it. 65 apiece.
Doug, when you're the man and you're feeling it, you can make those type of shots. You have to have the confidence in yourself and the belief in yourself, and those are the type of shots that go down when you have that belief.
Tae Davis into the chest of Lampkin, and he traveled. Syracuse gets it back with a chance to take its first lead of the ball game.
Doug, the difference in this basketball game for Syracuse is one thing that I see. Energy. Energy. I mean, it's a whole different Syracuse basketball team when they're playing with this type of energy.
And it switched, Eric, over the last 5 minutes of the first half. The Orange has made its last 5 shot attempts. Lampkin over the left shoulder, no, gets it back. Puts it in, plus the foul. Syracuse on top for the first time. It's been a reversal from the game here at the Dome for the last 5 minutes of the first half without a field goal, and they have maintained that in the second half. And what has Syracuse done against Markus Burton to get him under control?
The first half, the pick and rolls, he was just turning the corner, getting into that ACC logo every time, getting easy opportunities at the rim or creating plays for his teammates. Second half adjustment, Syracuse is pushed up out of that, made him play side to side, not allowing him to turn the corner as much. And when he is turning the corner, they're putting bodies in front and making it tough for him at the rim.
Notre Dame playing from behind for the first time today. Pass was kicked by Cuff out of bounds. Another part of the equation is that Cuff has been playing the second half against Burton, making it tough for him. He has been attached.
Absolutely. His energy, his effort, his physicality with Burton. Burton's not the biggest guy, and Cuff has the size advantage. He's just up. He's just playing hard. He's being aggressive.
Burton uses the screen. Shoots over Lampkin. It'll be Notre Dame basketball. Ryan O'Connell says Lampkin was the last to touch.
And Doug, another difference too is he was getting the same shots in the first half, those little mid-range opportunities, but what Kyle Cuff is doing defensively is he's making him work a lot more to get to that ball screen, and now when he gets to that opportunity, he's a little bit more tired, a little bit tougher to make those shots.
Notre Dame got the shot it wanted, a corner three from Shrewsbury, where he makes 45% this year. On the switch, now another switch. Shrewsbury will try and stay in front of Starling. Can't do it. Starling able to score to make it a 4-point Orange lead.
When you need a bucket, if you're Syracuse, you go to J.J. Starling. In this second half, 15 points. Much different than the first half, just being aggressive, attacking the rim, looking for his own opportunities.
Davis. Long rebound, Starling. From the Notre Dame bench, Micah Shrewsbury encourages his team to pick it up on the defensive end, now down 4.
And on this side, Doug, now you see Notre Dame starting to force it a little bit more, just taking shots that in the first half they would have been attacking. Now they're settling just a little bit more. Syracuse defense has had that type of impact this half.
Out of bounds, Syracuse ball. Tae Davis's foot, I believe, kicked it out of bounds. They asked the Notre Dame bench to sit. 20 on the shot clock, 2:09 on the game clock. Jaquan Carlos will trigger from the baseline.
But Doug, if I'm Syracuse and if I'm J.J. Starling, I'm not taking those type of shots. I'm attacking the rim. I'm being aggressive. The last few possessions have worked out. Keep going to it.
No surprise, these two teams have played a lot of tight games lately. Big block by Jai, out to Cuff. Carlos on the offensive glass, and he rips it away from Burton.
The effort right there from Carlos going up against the 6'10 Jai and coming down with that rebound.
Starling hunting that shot. Majstorovic back out to Cuff. It's a fresh 20 on the shot clock. Here goes Carlos. Creates space. Lampkin is fouled. Where did this energy come from?
Doug, you got to give credit to this JMA Dome crowd. Just staying behind their team, giving them the energy, and Eddie Lampkin Jr. has been a spark in this second half just from his energy alone. On the boards, we talked about he's not a big athlete, but using that body, creating space, and just his effort alone, he's getting opportunities at the rim and a chance to knock down 2 free throws.
That was the 3rd foul on Burton. And what do you know? Big number 44 has himself his 7th double-double of the season. 4 in a row. Big free throw here coming for the Houston native. 0 for 2. Shrewsbury hands to Burton. Here comes Notre Dame with just over a minute on the clock. And Burton calls timeout. Syracuse has held Notre Dame to just 6 made baskets here in the second half. They are 0 for 4 from three-point land, and they are usually terrific shooting the 3-ball. Alako forces his way into the lane and scores over Starling. 69-67.
Great job by Alako right there, not settling and just muscling his way to the basket for the tough finish. But it's all been on the defensive side of the basketball for Syracuse that has allowed them to get this lead, and it's just created energy for him on the offensive side of the ball and gave him more confidence.
That was Notre Dame's first basket in nearly 4 minutes. 10 on the shot clock, 35 seconds remaining in regulation. Starling. Tae Davis staying right with him, bodying him up, makes it tough on Starling, who misfires. Shrewsbury the rebound. The shot clock is off. Timeout, Notre Dame.
Timeout, Notre Dame.
Coach, now they got shooters all around. Shrewsbury, Konechny, and Alako, and then obviously Burton and Tae Davis.
Different look for the Irish. And now that will trigger a timeout from Syracuse. So now does Micah Shrewsbury draw up a 3rd play on this sideline out of bounds?
Well, they got a little back and forth going on right now. It's like they're icing the field goal kicker, that type of stuff going on. But you don't want to make it too complicated. You want to give the best player on your team the basketball and allow him to get space and make a play. Syracuse defensively, you have to communicate. Right now is the perfect time to switch the ball screen. If you get it 10 seconds, under 10 seconds, you're going to switch the ball screen, and then you just got to be able to man up. You don't want to allow a 3-point shot if you're Syracuse. If anything, everything to the rim.
The Fighting Irish led by as many as 17 points in the first half. Syracuse took the lead for the first time late in the second half at 67-65. Notre Dame out of timeouts, has to get the ball in. It's going to be in the hands of the Princeton transfer, Matt Alako. Into Burton, and here we go. Cuffed defensively. Burton gets around him, and an illegal screen is called against Tae Davis.
Notre Dame foul number 7, Tae Davis.
And just what you expected, get the ball to your best player and just let him go downhill. And unfortunate for Notre Dame, Tae Davis moving on the screen.
3rd foul on Tae Davis, and now Jair Davis to inbound for the Orange. Starling comes to the ball, and he is fouled by Burton.
Irish foul number 3, Markus Burton. That's his 4th personal.
4th foul on Burton. And so now back to the line, where again Starling on the year, 70% coming in. He's 3 for 4, as you see so far today. He was a ACC All-Freshman team member for Notre Dame back in 2023. Now Konechny returns. Roper goes back to the Notre Dame bench.
If you're Syracuse, you knock down this shot, you just keep one guy up on the free throw line just so Markus Burton can't have a full head of steam going downhill at you.
A 3 will tie it. Burton goes around Cuff and lays it in. Clock stops at 8.9 seconds to go. Davis gets it into Cuff, waits for the foul to come with 7.8 showing on the clock.
Foul is on number 7, Tae Davis. His 4th personal.
That's the 4th on Tae Davis. And so Kyle Cuff, who is like Starling, a 70% foul shooter, goes to the line. He is a perfect 4 for 4 today.
So it's still an opportunity for Notre Dame, even if Syracuse knocks down both these free throws.
(72-69). Here comes Burton again. The three, no. Jair Davis clears the rebound. And the orange should escape. And now Markus came running out onto the court to get into the face of Brian O'Connell. And now being restrained by his assistants. And he's been ejected. Brian O'Connell, double technical and ejection. It must have been from something earlier, right, Eric?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened. It didn't look like anything happened on that particular play right there, but
maybe the earlier illegal screen on Tae Davis. I'm not sure what prompted that.
Well, Doug, when you're up 17 points and Syracuse comes all the way back, you're going to be a little bit upset. So something got into his mind where he felt it deserved that. How about Syracuse, though? Hanging in there. Notre Dame, 11-0 lead to start the game, but Syracuse, they continue to stay in it, continue to fight in the second half. Defensively, they really shut down Notre Dame, which led to great opportunities on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, the energy in the defense presented by Kyle Cuff. Eddie Lampkin with another double-double. And then J.J. Starling got going in the second half. And so the orange will escape and get back to 500 on the season, and more importantly, get to 3-4 in ACC play. And now Jair Davis takes his turn at the line. A disheartening game for the Fighting Irish, for sure. They took an 11-0 lead and did not trail until late in the second half, and yet Syracuse comes all the way back to win it 77-69.
You can't say enough about Syracuse effort. It started